Good night, teacher and classmates. My name is Juan Rafael Almeida Calero, and today I am going to tell you about the use and characteristics of summary strategies applied to summarize information. For this task, we need to choose three strategies. The first I choose is the 5S and 1H method. This strategy is characterized by condensing information by answering some questions. With that, we have the 5S and why W? Because it's a abreviature of the words who, want, when, where, and why. 5 words. Similarly, 1H indicates some of these questions like how, why, where, who, what, and when. For that, an example application with a text, I have the next summary. This is then a report of New York, the city, the importance in the country, the United States, and some other data. For that, we ask the respective questions. Where is New York City? New York City is in the United States of America. Why New York is considered an imposing city? Because they skyscrapers. What sports do they play in New York? They play American football, baseball, and basketball. When was the Statue of Liberty inaugurated? The Statue of Liberty was inaugurated in the year 186. Who designed the Statue of Liberty? Designed by Edouard René de la Boulaye. How to get the Statue of Liberty? The Statue of Liberty you can get by the use of a ferry. With that, we had this summary I created with using this method. And summary is the next. New York. New York is located in the United States and is considered an imposing city for its skyscrapers, the second question. The most popular sports are American football, baseball, and basketball. One of the most important events was the inauguration of Statue of Liberty, designed by Edouard René de la Boulaye, which can be reached by ferry. And for that, I had the strategy number 2. And for this strategy, I choose the method first, then, and finally. What is this method? This method is a very useful way to condense the information in a structure of 3 parts. First, the initial part of the context, then the middle part, and finally the last part of the information we had. For that, I had the next step. It's a text of methodical resources for teaching English. This text speaks and explain different ways we can choose to have a better knowledge of our students. And with that, in the application of this example, this is how the method works. First, in this case, is the use of methodical resources for teaching English is very varied, the first part of the text. Then, who will be taught must be considered, this will influence the vocabulary usage, the middle part. And finally, resources such as flashcards, short stories, and dramatization improve children learning, the final part. We use the first, then, and finally. And with that, we create the next summary. Methodical resources. The use of resources for teaching English is very varied, so we must consider who will be taught, which will influence the vocabulary used. Therefore, methodical resources such as flashcards, short stories, and dramatization improve children's learning. Use information to create a resume. And with that, we have the strategy number 3, the final. And for that, I choose the quick scripts. This type of strategy consists on I am giving a text on, for example, history, and I reading a large text of history. And I have my students, I say, you need to read, you need to script what you remember about the topic that we see today in 1 and 2 minutes. Everything that the student has the ability to remember. With that, I reading the next example. It's about the human body. This data consists on the explication of the human body, the parts, and how we consist, and what makes us human. And with that, let's ask the question, how is the human body made of? The student depends on the capacity of remember, then you have to be a text more short or more large. The summary indicates the human body has a set of physical and organ structures that have 3 main parts, the head, the trunk, and the upper and lower extremities. It has minimal structures such as cells, tissues, and organs. That's for a system that shapes the organism that is the human body. Therefore, we must understand how it works to stay healthy. This proof example summary whose length will vary depending on the student ability to grasp the idea on the text and the writing speeds. These are my bibliographic reference. This is all for me. Thank you for your attention.